Hello, everybody. Because guess who's back? I'm back. Today we're going to be talking about this. You were called to be, but you settled for what could have been. You know, one day you're going to stand before the Lord. One day you're going to stand before God, and not with your excuses, not with your intentions, not with your potential, but with your life. And I will never carry the same weight as I did. Some of us keep asking God to show us His will. We keep on saying, I wish I knew what I could become. And God has already shown you. And you just didn't move. You blame closed doors when the truth was never the closed doors. The truth is that you never reached out for your handle. We call it waiting on God when God has been waiting on us. We keep saying, okay, maybe I'm waiting I'm waiting the Lord to come do this and this and that and that. But you keep asking for confirmation because obedience feels more dangerous than comfort. You weren't created to collect sermons. You were created to become one. You weren't created to hide your gift. You were not created to hide your talents. You were not created to hide your gifts. You were not created to hide the music and the beauty that is in you. You have so much in you, but you are not allowing yourselves to be. You know, the thing is, there's so much that you can be, but you're sitting in what could have been. And many of you lot are saying, okay, it's fear. Maybe I'm afraid. But it's not fear. It's disobedience, because delayed disobedience is still disobedience. You aren't called, right, to protect your comfort. You are called to carry the cross. And the question isn't whether God called you. The evidence is already there. The question is whether you will die with your callings and gifts trapped in you. Don't spend your entire life still polishing your potential while your purpose stuffs. Don't spend your life saying, oh, I could have been this. I had potential to become this. I could have been. But no one cares for what could have been. Everybody cares for what could be, right? Potential is what people applaud. Purpose is what God desires of you. Potential, can impress a crowd. Purpose changes eternity. You spent years making your gift look beautiful, but never let the Lord use it to break it open. And you spend your life sharpening the sword, but what you're being asked to do is not to sharpen the sword, but to really step into the battlefield. You keep preparing for the day, it's not today, man. It's not today. I will try tomorrow. I will go and use my gifts tomorrow. I'm going to go and show the things that I'm supposed to do. I'm going to go wait tomorrow. Potential does not disciple nations. Potential does not comfort the grieving. Potential does not preach the gospel. Potential does not heal the broken. Potential does not feed the hungry. Potential does not bless people. Potential does not, many say, oh yeah, I got the gift. God has blessed you with the gift. It's not that you cannot sing. It's not that you cannot become. It's not that you cannot do things. You have the potential to become those things, but you're sleeping on your potential and you're saying, oh wait, maybe tomorrow. A seed is not a decoration. A seed is to be planted. You can't say, oh, this and that and that. A seed is not decoration. You have to plant the seed in order for fruits to grow. And many of you lot are sitting on the seed and you're sitting with it and saying, you know what, maybe I'm waiting to get into the right environment. The right environment is right where you at. And I feel like God is not going to place you in a place that He knows you cannot grow. Mm-hmm. And many of you lot are carrying gifts and are carrying seeds that could have been used. You can become so great. Mm-hmm. People's lives depend on you. Somebody's waiting for you to go and encourage them. Somebody's waiting for you to go and tell them it's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Somebody's out there waiting for you to go and tell them, you know what, sing to them, and that is gonna bless their hearts. Maybe your music, maybe what you say to somebody, maybe how you dress, maybe how you carry yourself is what's gonna change somebody's life. And you're sitting there saying, man, what I think I could. It's not about I could become. It's about going out there and actually doing it. Because so many of you lot have gifts. Many of you are called to be, but you're not playing the part. It's easy to want the glory without really wanting to pursue the glory, without wanting to do the things that require you to get there. Thank you, Lise, for sharing and liking it up. You're a real one. Because a seed that stays in your hand will never become the tree it was created to be. A seed that stays in your hand is not a seed that will ever become the seed that is a tree that is supposed to be. Many of you are saying, you know what? I want to become this big. I want to become a tree. I want to grow many fruits. I want to do good things, and I want to inspire people. I want to become the boss. I want to become the CEO. I want to become all these things. A seed is safest in your hand. It's protected there. It's untouched. It's unbroken and unburied. But it is also useless. A seed that is in your hand or not on the ground, it's more protected in your hand, but it's useless there. The hand preserves the seed, but the soil reveals it, right? This is the thing. As long as you keep clenching the seed, as long as you keep clenching it and calling it potential, the moment you release it is when it becomes purpose. Purpose is not built on holding the seed down on your hand. You can hold the seed in your hand. You can hold the gift in your hand and say, man, hold on, I'm gonna do something with it at some point. I'm gonna do something with it. I'm gonna do something with it. You need to start doing something with it now. Every tree was once a seed that agreed to disappear. It had to be buried before it could have been seen. It had to be broken before it could have grown. Every seed has to lose its form so that it can fulfill its design. You have to lose your form so that you can fulfill your design. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you for liking it. Right? Some of us are praying for fruit while refusing the burial that produces it. We're asking God for a harvest while protecting the very thing that He asked us to surrender. Let me tell you something. Nothing productive is coming from your life by sitting down. Nothing productive is coming off your life by laying there and saying, you know what? I know I got potential. Potential is not going to feed families. Potential is not going to make you great. You got to sing. You got a voice to sing. It was not placed in you for no reason. You don't got that gift for no reason. Stop admiring what you're capable of becoming and surrender to the process that makes it possible. Stop admiring what you're capable of becoming and surrender to the process that actually makes it possible to become that which God has called you to become. You cannot become the tree God imagined while insisting on remaining the seed you prefer. Hello? You cannot become the tree that God imagined for you while insisting on remaining the seed you prefer. You're asking for a harvest while protecting the very thing that needs to be surrendered in order for a harvest to happen. And you're sitting in that season and you're saying, oh man, this season feels stagnant. You're not stuck because nothing is happening in your life. You're not stuck because nothing is happening. It's not because you don't got a gift. It's not because you don't have potential. It's not because you're not gifted, hi Renee. It's not because you do not have that which it takes. Let me say, the only reason why you're not moving is because you're not willing to surrender the very thing that is gonna take you to the places that God is willing to take you. Many of you are supposed to be in certain rooms today. So many of you were supposed to be in certain, and you're supposed to be in certain stages, and you're not on that stage today, and you're not on that room, and you're not in that room today. And not because God is delaying your process, but because you're playing a part in delaying what you can be, because you admire what you're capable of becoming instead of surrendering to the process that is required to make it possible. You admire what you can possibly become. I could be is not being. Oh, what if that is not being. Being is not admiring what you could be. Stop admiring what you're capable of and surrender to the process that makes it possible. Can I say this again? Stop admiring the process. Stop admiring the, I could be this, I know I could be a tree. No, in order to become a tree, a seed has to be planted. Potential has become your favorite fantasy. So many people love to imagine the future versions of ourselves. The disciplined one, the faithful one, the courageous one, the obedient one, the gifted one, the one that is touching people. You imagine, sometimes I sit down and I imagine myself on stages. Man, I imagine myself preaching to nations and all the stuff, but it is easy to admire the person so much that you've mistaken admiration for progress. Admiration is not progress. Dreams don't produce destiny. Right? Process does. God never promised to bless the version of you that exists in your imagination. He walks in the ones that shows up, right? The one who keeps praying when nobody's seeing. The one who keeps forgiving when it still hurts. The one who keeps serving when nobody applauds. You're going to be the one who keeps obeying when it costs something. You don't become who you are called to be by envisioning it. You become who you are called to be by making the vision become reality. You become who God called you to be by surrendering to everything that shapes you into it. So stop worshiping your potential and stop romanticizing your future. Stop falling in love with the idea of who you could become. Hi, Brian. You could become while refusing the obedience required to becoming that person. Surrender to the process that makes it possible. Surrender to the process that makes it possible for you to become the person that you really need to become. Because the process isn't punishment. It is the process. It's the promise. God isn't delaying you on purpose. He's developing the person who can carry it without being crushed by it. The process isn't standing between you and your calling. The process is your calling. Many people say that the process is what, like I could become that, but the things that I have to do to get there is what is standing in between me becoming that and the potential I have. No, that is not what's stopping you from becoming that. The process isn't standing between you and your calling. The process isn't standing between you and those offices and those rooms and those stages. It is the process. The process is your calling. Because if you don't go through the process, you do not become the person. There's no platform with no process. And this is what a lot of people don't like to do. To surrender the gift that makes it possible for a tree to be planted. There is no tree without a seed that is planted. There is no tree without You can clench onto the seed. You can put the seed in your bag. You can put the seed in a glove. You can put a seed in somewhere where it's safe. But safety is not progress. Safety isn't progress. Many of you are worried about being safe much rather than actually making progress. You're not growing because you're trying to play it safe, man. It's time you start playing it safe and go out there and do the very things that require you to become the person that you really want to become. Stop playing it safe, man. I used to say, man, listen, yeah, if I don't go out there and do all of that, I will not face rejection. But rejection is part of it. If I don't go out there, then I will not be embarrassed. But embarrassment is part of it. Well, if I go out there, then if I don't go out there, I won't risk being bullied. If I don't go out there, I wouldn't risk being talked about. I wouldn't risk getting haters. No, listen, if you do not go out there, not only that you don't risk those things, you do not become who you're meant to be because you start on what could have, like, okay, I'm scared. What if this? What if that? But the risk is part of it. Stop worshiping your potential. Stop romanticizing your future. Stop falling in love with the idea of who you can become while refusing the obedience that requires you to become that person. Man, you are meant to be good things. Many of you, they belong to offices. Many of you belong in big tables. Big tables. You belong in big tables. You belong in big spaces. You belong. You belong. You belong somewhere big. You belong somewhere great. In big spaces. But those big spaces are not just going to happen. You have to take the step and become the person that requires to become that. Let me tell you something. Many of you belong in bigger tables. Not because you're better than everyone else, but because God built you to carry more than the room that you settled into. You've been shrinking your convictions to fit into people's comfort. Many of you are dimming your light so insecure people don't feel exposed. You're silencing your voice because you've mistaken humility for hiding. You've been asking God to enlarge your territory while refusing to outgrow the environments that keep you small. Let me say this. Big spaces don't happen because you chase platforms. They happen because you become trustworthy in private. Stop asking why nobody has noticed you. Ask whether you become the kind of person who can remain faithful after you are noticed. Because a bigger table isn't just a big opportunity, it is a bigger responsibility.
Amen.
And if your character cannot hold the weight of the room will eventually expose what your gift conceals. Don't obsess over getting a seat. Become someone whose wisdom, integrity, and obedience make room for them. God does not just prepare the table for you, He prepares you for the table. Because Lord, oh man. I gotta say this to you. Many of you belong in bigger spaces, but you've gotten so comfortable living beneath your capacity. You keep praying for bigger rooms while decorating the smaller ones. You've learned how to survive in places that God intended you to grow. You've called it contentment, but it's not contentment, it is fear. It is fear of being seen. Fear of failing, fear of succeeding, fear of what people could say, because bigger spaces demand a bigger version of you. Not a different one, but a surrendered one. As some of you have spent so long asking for permission that you've forgotten you've already been given. You've been waiting for people to validate what God has already spoken. You'll never receive from insecure people the affirmation they fear your obedience will produce. I'll say this again. You will never receive from insecure people the affirmation they fear your obedience will produce. Stop asking small-minded people if you're too much. Stop asking people who don't have the capacity to hold you if you're too much. They will always tell eagles to walk because they've never seen one fly. They will always tell eagles to walk because they've never seen one fly. The tragedy isn't the room is too small. It is that you've started thinking like the room. You have adjusted your language. You have lowered your standards. You've silenced your convictions. You've compromised your calling, not because God changed His mind, but because you've gotten too comfortable in what you're not supposed to be. Do not confuse familiarity with an assignment. Because you've been somewhere a long time does not mean you're supposed to stay there. Some seasons are classrooms, they're not homes.
Oh my God.
If you build a house in a season God intended to be a lesson, you'll begin calling bondage stability. If you build a house in a season God intended to be a lesson, you'll begin calling bondage stability. There are conversations you're supposed to lead. There are tables you're supposed to influence. There are people you're supposed to discipline, man. There are prayers you're supposed to pray. There are doors you're supposed to walk through. But you will never reach them You will never reach those tables if you're determined to remain where you're celebrated instead of where you're stretched. God has never been intimidated by the size of the room.
Sure.
He's only concerned with whether the person walking into it has been prepared.
Oh, yes.
The size of the room is not the problem. It's not that this room is not big enough for you or small, too small for you. It's not that this room is too big enough for you. Listen, the only reason, it's not the rooms, it's not the size of the room. The problem is whether you are ready to occupy that space. Many of you belong in stages. Many of you belong in rooms that are so big and wide, but you've gotten so comfortable at shrinking yourselves that you don't fit in the rooms that were meant for you. God has never been intimidated by the size of the room. He's only concerned with whether the person walking into it has been prepared, because platforms reveal, pressure reveals, promotion reveals. The bigger the room, the louder your character speaks. Do not chase bigger spaces. Become the person who can carry one without losing the God who brought you there. Because when God enlarges your territory, He's not trying to make your name bigger. It's your obedience that becomes visible, not your name bigger. And a lot of you, Lord, could become big. Man, I know so many people with so much potential, man. I look at my friends and I'm like, man, I know you can become so big. I know you're sitting on a talent. You're sitting on a gift. You're sitting on a calling. You're sitting on something you could be. Because you're so concerned about making other people comfortable. You spent so long asking for my mission that you've forgotten you were already given. You're sitting there making people comfortable. Let me say something. If you build a house in a season that you were never intended to, you were never intended to stay in, you begin calling bondage stability. I am Muslim, but I love this advice. Great. This one is for everybody. It doesn't matter what religion you are. This one is for everybody. Because I tell you this right now, a lot of you could become so big. Some of you have so much there's so much more that you carry. There's so much more that you're supposed to become, but it's not happening. Before you do is settle in places that you were never meant to settle. Stop settling. Stop sitting down and being comfortable. It is not your season to be comfortable. It is your season to become. God isn't interested in bringing and making comfortable people comfortable. And is enlarging you. You shall not be enlarged by just sitting there. You have to become. You belong in rooms you've been afraid to walk into. Not because you belong in rooms that you've been afraid to walk into, and not because you're entitled to them, because your obedience was always meant to take you there. Let me say this. Sometimes the enemy doesn't always have to destroy your calling. Sometimes he only has to convince you that you're too small for it. You sit outside doors God already unlocked. You're apologizing for gifts that God has entrusted you to. You shrink every time you're supposed to stand. You speak softer when truth requires a clear voice. You mistake insecurity for humility. Insecurity is not humility. They're not the same. Humility says, without God I can do nothing. Insecurity says, even with God I don't think I can. One glorifies, the other one quietly questions. How many opportunities have you called not my season that were actually invitations requiring courage? Some of you, Lord, have many things that you can become and you were meant to become, but you're sitting there saying, you're sitting on the bench where you belong in the field. Come on, get off the bench. Get off the bench. And listen, being on the bench is a sign that you were meant to be on the field. Because they don't call up the people who are not, you're not called up to the team if you're not worthy of being in the field. How many prayers have been answered in front of you, but you walked away from them because they were looked too big? How many miracles have you mistaken for intimidation? You keep asking for expansion of your influence. But influence begins the moment you stop making yourself smaller than the calling that you were given. David wasn't qualified before Goliath. He was willing. It is not about being qualified. It's about being willing. Moses didn't feel capable, but Jeremiah believed he was too young. Gideon believed that he was the weakest. And again, God chose people who felt too small, and he asked them to stop measuring themselves by themselves. Stop measuring yourself by yourself. Your calling was never built on your confidence. It was built on your faithfulness. Stop waiting until you feel ready. Ready is a feeling. Obedience is a decision. Some of you do not need another sermon. Some of you need to start taking the step that is required to become the man or the woman that God has called you to become.
Amen.
You need to take the first step. You spend your whole life asking, why is my territory not being enlarged? But you're refusing to leave the square foot of fear. You're refusing to leave the square foot of fear where you've made your home. You don't belong where your excuses are comfortable. You belong where your faith has to grow. That's where your purpose lives. That's where dependence is learned. That's where God gets the glory. The room isn't too big for you. It's too big for the version that refuses to trust the process.
Hallelujah.
So let that version die. Walk in, not because you believe in yourself, but because you believe in the one who called you there. walking into those rooms knowing that you belong there, man. Let me tell you something. A rich person knows how to walk like a rich person. You don't gotta convince a rich person they're rich because they walk like it. You don't gotta convince a good singer that they're a good singer. They know they're a good singer. Many of you, it's not that you need to be convinced of what you are. You know what you are. You just are afraid to become it because you're so scared of things that don't matter. You feed other people's insecurities and call it humility. That isn't humility. So step out of your comfort zone, man. Go become it. Go be what you're called to be, man. Go be what you're called to be. Can I say this again? Sometimes you've outgrown the room, but you haven't outgrown the fear. That's why you're still there, not because you were forgotten, because comfort has become more convincing than conviction. You know you're called to more. You felt it every time you prayed, every time you speak to people, you know you're called to more. And every time someone also steps into the very thing you've been making excuses about. It stings, not because you're jealous, because it reminds you of what you've been avoiding. You aren't born to fit into rooms that require you to become less of who God created you to be. If you have to shrink your convictions to stay accepted, man, it's too small. If you have to silence your calling to keep people comfortable, then it's too small. If you have to bury your gifts so no one else feels threatened, man, it's too small. You were never called to become smaller so others can feel comfortable. You should become surrendered. Stop trying to fit into places your purpose was never designed to remain, man. Joseph didn't belong in the pit. He didn't belong in the prison. Those places shaped him. They didn't define him. Many believers have started decorating prisons only God intended them to pass through. You've put captains over your captivity. You've hung pictures over your compromise. And you've made yourself comfortable in places you were supposed to leave. And then you wonder why your spirit feels restless. Because purpose has a holy dissatisfaction, man. You know, you can be doing things and you're like, man, I don't feel comfortable. I feel like I haven't done. You're always like, man, what is my purpose? What is my will? What is my purpose? What is God's will over my life? What is my purpose? The reason why you feel uncomfortable when you see other people elevating in that same space that you were supposed to be in. You see people entering those rooms. The reason why it stings sometimes, it's not jealousy. It's because you know you belong there too. There comes a moment when staying becomes more dangerous than stepping. Right? When your greatest risk is no longer failure, it is remaining exactly who you are. Sometimes your greatest risk is not failure. It is remaining exactly where you are. One day you realize the biggest thing standing between you and the life that God has called you to be, it was not the devil, it wasn't the people, it wasn't the lack of opportunity. It's the version of you that you kept negotiating with fear. Sometimes what is standing between you and who you're supposed to be is not the devil. It's not no enemy. It's not the people. It is nobody. No one from your village is the reason why you're not becoming who you're supposed to be. Hi, Chelsea. It's not anyone from your village, man. It's not, man. Oh, you don't need no deliverance. You don't need nobody to go rebuke some demons out of you. The only person who's stopping you from becoming the man you're supposed to become or the woman you're supposed to become is you. You. The version of you that keeps negotiating with fear. The version of you that keeps calling insecurities humility. Oh man, you're negotiating with people you shouldn't be negotiating. Why? Stop asking, do I belong there? And start saying, man, I need to start walking into this room comfortable knowing that this is where I'm supposed to be, man. Sometimes what is stopping you from becoming, so many of you lot are carrying influence. You're carrying gifts. You're carrying purpose. You're carrying blessings, man. You can be so many big things, man. You have so much in you. But you're never going to become that until you're willing to step into that space. Walk. Because at some point, it becomes more costly to stay than to walk. It becomes more costly to stay in certain environments, in certain comfort zones. You're losing something every day. And not because you're lacking in anything. It's because you're not willing. Sometimes capability, being capable, or being capable enough, you're waiting for until I feel good enough. I feel capable enough. Michelle, actually, this is your word too. Welcome. You know, I'm waiting to feel I'm waiting to feel ready enough. I'm waiting to feel qualified enough. You don't need to be qualified enough. You need to be willing enough. Many of you lot, it's not that you're not qualified. It's that you're not willing. You've hung pictures in the places you were never meant to stay. You put captains over your captivity. You've made yourself comfortable in the spaces you were supposed to leave, man. You're supposed to walk out there and become what you were called to become. Stop spending your whole life asking for your territories to be enlarged while refusing to leave the square foot of fear you've made a home. Stop making a home where you were meant to live, man. Stop apologizing for the gift that you were entrusted with. Stop shrinking every time you were supposed to stand. Oh, Michelle, thank you for the gifts. Thank you for the love. Humility says, humility says, I know that without God I can do nothing. Insecurity will tell you that no matter what, I don't think I can. But the truth is, it's not that you can't. You can. But something is stopping you. So I want you to ask yourself this. What type of fear? Who told you that you can't be? Stop sleeping on your potential. The bigger room isn't your biggest problem. Your smaller mindset is. Because if God gave you tomorrow what you refuse to prepare for today, you lose it as quickly as you received it. Some of you think life is waiting on one opportunity, one phone call, or I'm waiting for one platform, one promotion. I'm waiting for one invitation. No, Listen, brothers and sisters, no. Your life is waiting on one act of obedience. The room that has never been a miracle, the person who carried the room is, man. God is far less interested in getting you into a bigger space than he is making you sure the bigger space doesn't get into you. Because big rooms have a way of feeding little egos, man. Let me say this. They amplify whatever already lives inside you. If you're insecure, they'll magnify it. If you're prideful, they'll expose it. If you're hungry for applause, they'll addict you to it. If you're rooted in God, they'll become another place to serve. That's why it's so important that the person you're building in secret is the person who's going to accommodate your gift in public, right? The person you're building in private is the person who's going to accommodate your gift in public. Let me say this. The person you're working on becoming in private, the prayers you pray when nobody's seeing you, the work that you're putting on when nobody's seeing you, that person, that character that is built, let me say this, the gift will get you in the room, but it's the character that will sustain you in those rooms. Everybody wants the spotlight, but very few survive it. You say you belong in bigger spaces, then prove it, not by demanding a sit, but becoming impossible to ignore through your faithfulness. Show up when no one is clapping. Serve when no one knows your name. Honor when no one is watching, because public influence is almost always the overflow of private obedience. This is the thing. You can spend your whole life standing outside the room that God intended for you because you believe that the lie you had to earn what God already called you to do. Or worse, or you can spend your whole life inside the wrong room because it was easier than trusting God with the right one. Either way, fear wins. Do not let your life become a collection of almost. Almost obedient. Almost faithful, man. Almost surrendered. Almost courageous. Almost who God created to be. The saddest words you'll ever hear you aren't gifted enough. Is that they buried what I gave you. You buried what I gave you. God never asked you to become impressive. You were asked to become faithful. Faithfulness is what opens doors to what talent could alone never could. Alone never could. So I tell you this right now. Your talent can get you into certain spaces, but it is faithfulness that will keep you in those rooms and open even bigger doors. The saddest thing is that there was an almost successful victor. I don't want to be an almost faithful victor, an almost courageous victor. I don't want to live in the almost. What could I become? What I could have become is not what I want to live as. I became. Leave a legacy. Not a what if. What if I pursued my dreams, man? What if I paid attention to the dreams? What if I actually started making videos? What if I never gave up? What if I went for that opportunity? What if I entrusted God with what he was calling me to become? What if I don't want to live like that. That's not a way to live, man. I don't want to be what ifs. Shall I not be a collection of what ifs? Because sometimes the hardest words is not you aren't gifted enough. Is that you buried what you were given. You buried the gifts that you were given. You buried the life you were given. So many of you lot have the talent, the gift, the ability, the skill. I tell my friend Michelle, she's here, to start making content and stuff. She has the ability to do it, but she keeps on saying, oh, I'm afraid. Fear is not going to feed you.
Yeah.
Fear is not going to feed you. It is not going to give you influence. Let me say this right now. The saddest word sometimes you'll ever hear one that you aren't gifted enough is that you buried what you were given. You buried the gifts that you were given. Hi, Auntie Millie. You buried the life that you came in. I don't want to sit in there like, oh, Victor could have become this. Victor could have become this. I don't want to be I could have become. I will become it. So go chase your dreams. Go become who you're meant to be. And stop worrying about what everyone else thinks, man. Do not start saying, oh, and many people say, oh, I'm just being humble. You're not being humble. You're being insecure. You're feeding other people's insecurities. You're not being humble. That's not humility. Stop building a house in seasons that God intended to be a lesson and calling them stability. Stop calling bondage stability. There are conversations you are called to lead. There were people you were supposed to discipline and disciple. There were people there are prayers you were meant to pray, man. There are doors you were supposed to walk through, but you'll never reach them if you're determined to remain where you've celebrated instead of where you were stretched. God has never been intimidated by the size of the room, but he's only concerned with whether the person walking into it has been prepared. Many of you, Lord, needs to start walking that walk and stop saying, oh, this and that. Start walking the walk. Start walking the walk. Start walking the walk. Become it. Stop saying, oh, I could become this. I could become. Who cares what you can become? No one remembers what you could have become. Everyone remembers what you became. No one remembers what you could have become. You will never reach them if you keep choosing celebration over stretching. Because celebration feels good. People will celebrate you. But if it doesn't grow you, it just affirms where you already are. And some of you are being confusing affirmation for assignment. Being affirmed is not being assigned. God did not call you to be affirmed. He called you to be formed. And formation always requires stretching. Sometimes stretching your obedience when it's inconvenient. Sometimes you have to stretch your discipline when no one is watching. Sometimes you have to stretch your faith when nothing around you makes sense. No, let me say this. A lot of people stop not because they're incapable, but because they're comfortable. Comfort has quietly become the greatest thief of a calling. What I learned from so many called people, I see so many gifted people not doing anything. And because comfort became their biggest enemy. Because you will convince yourself that you're staying in a place where you're applauded. But it's not God's will to be in a place where you're applauded, but to be in a place where you're growing. You can be celebrated and still be stagnant. You can be recognized and still be undeveloped. You can be clapped for and still unprepared. And some of you guys keep saying, I'm protecting myself, I'm protecting myself. A seed that is protected is not a seed that grows. You have to surrender a seed into the ground for it to grow. Stop romanticizing the tree that you can become and plant that seed so that you can become that tree. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you're hearing what I'm saying. Oh, some of you guys are holding to your seed. You're holding into your gift in your hand. You're protecting it. I don't want it to get hurt. I don't want people to hurt it. I don't want people to hurt my seed. I don't want them to despise my seed. But that seed does not become a tree until it's thrown to the ground. Throw that seed to the ground, man. Let it grow. Let it grow. You're sitting there and saying, oh man, I'm protecting my gift. Man, I'm protecting my gift. I'm protecting my gift. I'm protecting my gift. To who are you protecting your gift? You're protecting your gift. Oh, I'm protecting my seed. No one, let me tell you something. A protected seed is not a growing seed. You're not just holding. You're protecting the seed. That's what you tell yourself. Oh, it's not the right time. Oh, I'm still preparing. I'll step up when I feel ready. I don't want to mess it up. It sounds wise and it sounds careful. It sounds responsible. But sometimes what we call protection is really avoidance. Because seed was never meant to be protected forever. It was meant to be planted. And a seed in your hand feels safe, but it's only a seed that is in the ground that grows. No soil, no pressure, no breaking, no growth. Just preservation. And preservation without planting is a delayed purpose. You keep calling it wisdom, but it's really just withholding. Because what you're protecting was never meant to stay in your control. It was meant to be surrendered to the process. The soil will do what your hands cannot. The soil will break the seed. It will hide it. It will pressure it. And yes, it will cost something. And that's the only place it can become what it was created to be. Stop confusing safety with obedience. Stop calling hesitation stewardship. You are not protecting seed forever. You're deciding whether it ever becomes a tree. Because a seed that stays in your hand will never become the tree it was created to be. A seed that stays in your hand will never become the tree that it was created to be. So now, tonight I want to let you know this. Let go of that seed. But I'm afraid it will be broken. But breaking of the seed is the part of it growing. A seed will never bloom until it's broken. A seed never blooms until it's hidden. A seed is never blooming until it's put on pressure. So be willing to let go of that seed and plant it, because that's the only way that seed will ever grow. Man, stop sitting and leaning on your potential, man. Stop romanticizing the tree that you could be without planting the seed that you already are right now, man. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I'm about to finish.
Oh.
I'm about to say this right now. You need to let go of the seed. You know, you have a talent. Hi, Mluo, how are you doing? You have a gift. You're supposed to be a comedian. You're supposed to be a talented person. You're supposed to be in rooms. You're supposed to be in big rooms. So many of you have unsung songs. You have unstarted ministries. You have unspoken encouragement. You have businesses that never opened. You have businesses that never opened. You have forgiveness that was never offered. You have faith that never left the boat. Potential is beautiful, but potential has never changed a life. Listen, potential has never changed a life. Because you can have the potential, but it is taking a step. Purpose has only become reality when obedience moves. The servant who buried his talent in the ground did not lose it because he was evil. He lost it because he refused to use what had already been placed in his hands. Some of you, it's not because you're lacking in gifts and talent. You already have it. You're funny. You're talented. You can sing, man. You can sing better than Beyonce. You can preach better than I can. You're funny than Mluo, right? My friend, right? But you're sitting in your gift. You're sitting, man. You're saying, man, I can become this. Nobody cares what you could become. Everybody cares about the person you become. For no one shall remember you for the seed you were. Everybody remember you for the tree that you were. People remember trees, not seeds. There's so many seeds out there. But it's only trees that are standing that are remembered. So tonight I want to let you leave with this. Go become it. Because a buried gift is still a buried gift. A life filled with almost is still a life that never fully answered the call. Stop admiring the life that God intended for you. Stand up and live it before what could have happened becomes the only thing left to say about you. Before what could have happened and what could have been becomes the only thing that can be said about you. What could have been of Victor? What could have been of Auntie Mili? What could have been of Jen? What could have been of Mluo? What could have been of Dijili? What could have been of, who else is here? Patmos. What could have been of you? What could have been is not what we want to be. We want to just be. In order to become, you have to be. So go. Go be it. Go be it, man. Let me say this. There is no butterfly without a caterpillar. There is no butterfly without a caterpillar. You have to be first before you become. The habits that you need to foster, they need to be fostered. The discipline starts now. Because there's no discipleship with no discipline. There is no platform with no process. I don't want to be like the Victor that always said, there was once Victor. There was this guy called Victor, man. He had a gift. He could speak to people and encourage people. I don't want to be what could have been a Victor. I want to be Victor, okay? I'm going to go out there and become what I'm meant to be, not I could have been. I don't want that of me. So refuse to be that, right? Thank you guys for liking. Thank you for sharing the video. There's so much more that we could have been. I don't want that. That's not who I am. Mom, do you want to be left as what could have been? No. Be who you're supposed to be. I don't want to be, I could have been this, I could have been that. I will be. Go speak, go love, go heal, go be, go build. What you're called to be may be sitting on what you are not allowed. Stop being a museum of almost. Stop being a museum of, I could have been that, man. Stop being a museum of gifts. Many of you are museums. Your decorations, you've started hanging decorations in a room that you were never supposed to stay. God is telling you, move now, like just move. Walk. Sometimes the greatest tragedy isn't that you were never gifted. It is that those gifts never produced anything. You never harvested. You never ate from your gift. Some of you guys should be eating from your gift. Some of you guys should be sitting with presidents, should be sitting with kings and queens. Some of you guys should be inserted in rooms. You will never reach them. Because all you know how to do is sit and be lazy and watch Netflix and chill. All you do is Netflix and chill. All you do is watch Paramount Plus. You're watching other people act on TV. But you were meant to be an actor. You're watching other comedians, but you're meant to be that great comedian. You're watching other people preach, but you were meant to be that preacher. You're watching other people become that, and that's where sometimes it stings. That's where sometimes it feels painful still, right? Sometimes it's always like, oh man, I feel sad when you see other people succeeding and you're not succeeding. It's not because out of jealousy, it's because you know what you can be, but you're not allowing yourself to be it. So go be it, man. What are you so afraid of? Stop sitting there and saying, I'm being humble. I'm being humble. Stop shrinking yourself to feed other people's insecurities. Stop shrinking yourself to make other people comfortable. If you have to move countries, move. If you have to move states, move. If you have to move an environment, move. Just go be, man, what you gotta be. I don't care what it has to be, just go be it. Because the one tragedy you don't want to be a museum of what could have been. Man, I don't want to be like, I don't want to be like, let me say something. There are people out there who could sing better than the greatest singers we know. Akina Beyonce, they're the Beyoncés of this world. There's so many Beyoncés out there. There's so many Rihannas out there. There's so many great preachers out there. But they're sitting at home, Netflix and chilling. Okay? There's so many people out there who are supposed to be in rooms. They're supposed to command rooms. They're supposed to command authority. There are people who are supposed to be in certain tables. Sometimes it's not that the room is bigger. It's too big for you. It's that you're not allowing you're not getting ready for the room. It's not that you cannot occupy this room, but you don't even think you're worthy of this room. You don't even think you're deserving to be in this space. So when you walk into those rooms, when you walk into those platforms, walk like you deserve to be here. Speak like you deserve to be here. Speak like you know what you are called to be, man. I don't have to wait for somebody to convince me that I'm gifted, because I know I am gifted. Many of you are waiting to be convinced. Oh, I'm waiting for my friend to approve of me. I'm waiting for my family to approve of me. Ain't nobody coming to do so. No one. No one. Can I say this right now? Many of you are sitting on the bench. You are meant to be the striker on that field. The goals that need to be scored are waiting to be scored for you in that field. You're meant to be that star player, but you've gotten so comfortable with the bench that you think this is where you belong. You don't belong in the bench. The evidence of the evidence that you belong in the field is the fact that you're sitting on the bench. Hello? The evidence that you belong in the field is the fact that you're sitting on the bench. The coach never calls up people to the bench that they don't belong in the field, okay? The only reason you're sitting there is because you belong there, but you're not ready for there. Sometimes the stage is not too big for you, it's that you're not ready for that stage. So go and occupy those spaces you're supposed to be in. So many of you are supposed to be star players, man. Stars. Gifted people. So go arise and shine and give our God the glory. As I always say since I was young, go arise and shine. And rise and shine, man. Stars gotta shine. Let me say something. You cannot dim your light so that you can hide other people's darkness. Hello? You cannot dim your light so that other people are comfortable in their... Oh, hello. No. Stop calling it humility. It's not humility. It is insecurity. You've been so comfortable. You're so good at making other people feel good and comfortable and great. No. You are meant to be good, so go be it. Wake up, man. Stop sitting in what could have been. I could have been that. I could have been... That's not you. You are meant to be great. So, Lord, I pray for the people who are watching this live tonight, that they will go out there and become the very things they were called to be, man. Go command those rooms. Go become it. Go get those degrees. Go become the doctors you want to become. Don't sit there and say, man, I wish, man. I really wish. Stop wishing. You look at your life 50 years from now. And you're like, man, I was supposed to become a doctor. You look at your life and be like, man, I was supposed to become great. I was supposed to be on the biggest stages in the world, man. I was supposed to be. No one cares for what you were supposed to be. For you're not remembered for what you could have been. You're remembered for who you are while you were here. Leave a legacy. Legacies are not built on sleeping and staying there and waiting for somebody to tell you go. You already know and some people say, God, I need a sign. God, I just need a sign. God, just give me a sign. How many signs do you need? So many of you already know what you're supposed to be, but you just can't. You have no motivation. Let me say something. Let me tell you something. You sitting there is not going to feed you. It's not going to put you in those rooms. Because a gift can only open so many doors. It is a character that sustains you in those doors. Many of you cannot get into certain rooms. It's not because your gift cannot facilitate that room. It is because your character cannot. You let me say this. You can be so gifted but act like somebody who's not gifted at all. Because gifts will open doors. It is a character that sustains you in those rooms, man. Your character, man. Build your character today. Build your character today. Go become who you're meant to be. Stop saying, I know I was gifted. I know I could have been. Nobody cares, okay? Just be it, man. Just go be it. Be it. My brothers and sisters, the Lord is going to do so many good things in your lives. There's so many things you're capable of becoming. so many things you're capable of becoming, and all it takes is just to be obedient. And all it takes is just one day you wake up and actually go do it. One day is just take your phone and film that video. Who are you waiting to come and tell you, okay? Let me tell you something. We're all gonna die anyways. This life, we're not gonna live forever. For if you live a life, make sure you live a meaningful one. Do not look at your life and reflect and see, man, I didn't do it. I could have been. You are scared of what people are gonna say. Okay. But remember this. People are not gonna feed you. It is your gift that's supposed to feed you. It is your gift that's supposed to open doors for you. Nobody, not anybody else. So go be it. I love you guys. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here. Have a good night. That was a good life, Mom.
Yeah.
That was a